Alright, let's double if the timing is going to work here. Seconds. There we go. Alright, finally green on there. Live on YouTube. Oh. The fuck? There we go, it says I'm live now. Because it's required for the thing. Get out of here. No, it's required for the Nydus. Get out. Anyway. Alright guys. Time to get this game started. Let's get these players ready up. And we are on East. As per the request. Some technical difficulties today. Twitch has apparently decided to take a shit. Well, once we get into the game, we should be good to go. Just wait on Madabai or Mabide. Alright, he's ready. On with him, Mab. Mabity. Turn this light off. Alright, let's go. Alright guys, welcome to the first match of the night. And the matchup between DLife and GIGO Gamer. Or Insight Gaming. Representing from Insight Gaming is GIGO Gamer. Completely confusing myself tonight. I have technical difficulties. But other than that. Yeah, spawning to the bottom right hand corner, playing as the green Zerg pieces from Insight Gaming is GIGO Gamer. Spawning into the bottom left hand corner, playing as the purple Terran pieces is Mabidi from DLife. Hope I pronounced that right. Apologies if I butcher any names. So take a look at the spawns real quick. This is a 4-player map. The players have spawned horizontally from each other, which is kind of an advantage to Terran players, as they pretty much prefer cross spawns on maps like this. Alrighty, we're going to see Geo throwing down that hatchery as our Terran player over here is going to go into a standard looking opener, you know. If you see a Reaper coming out here. And there will be a reactor thrown down behind this, which means there should be a factory follow-up as well. Trying to make sure everything's right before far into this, guys. Give me. Alright, so we'll be good to go for sure now. With no expo on the way, he is going to follow up with an orbital right after this. You should see a factory or the such go down here. Reaper is on the way. Command center finally going down. Spawning pool is about to finish up for Geo as he is scouting towards the northeast corner with both overlords, expecting that cross spawns and that horizontal. Which is one reason why I prefer to see players always like drone scout or SCV scout right away, is to find out that location, as we will see the Reaper come out and head exactly to the right here. Looks like he's actually going to head north as well, and both players, he should hit GI here, these Overlord pathing up there. Say, nope, actually not going to pay attention to it. Because he's just going to come up here and check around, because that Overlord could be floating back, who knows, play a little mind games with already. This Reaper will come in here and see that there is no hatchery and make his way to the top right side of the map next. You're actually getting quite a bit of time here on his tech. That Reaper has yet to spot him. And neither player has yet to spot each other. So that's actually a bit of a useful thing to note. As Reaper is going to make his way into the top right corner of the map. Yo, also going to follow up and head straight on over to the same location. Which is actually interesting considering the Reaper went up to that location. So he will know that there is no cross spawns, but which could be interesting is when this Reaper heads south, however, that this Reaper will be able to get in here and probably pick off one drone, maybe two. As the first roach is out, this roach one has come out, 5 roaches are on the way with stem just now starting up. It looks like we actually are going to go into a stem drop timing on the Terran side of the map. A bunker being thrown down at the front. To actually make this aggression a lot harder for Geo to push up in here with these roaches. Four Marines are going to load into this bunker. First couple roaches are making their way across the map. 7 more are in. This looks like a very much an all-in. There's no third base going down behind this just yet. His drone count has actually seemed to have stopped at this point at 24 workers. Our supply is heavy in favor of Geo as the all-in will commence here very shortly. Marines getting work on these rocks over here. The Lings are going to make their way up the ramp. See that there is a wall off starting up with a bunker here. But the question is, will Geo be able to break this bunker? Or will our Terran player actually end up holding this? As neither player has scouted each other. And here we go. Geo is pushing up the ramp. These roaches trying to get to work on this bunker as the SCV starts repairing. Looks like he's lost 1 Reaper. As once again, he's going to push all up in here. There's a total of about 9 Marines here pushing this back. This repair down on the bunker is actually holding strong as these roaches are falling one at a time. SCV is finally going down here. The last of the Marines outside the bunker have been cleaned up. A couple medevacs will join into the mix here, trying to get some heals on these SCVs. Question is, will Geo actually break this? It looks like he has actually done it as the last SCV is cleaned up. A little bit of Marine micro here, as the bunker is getting so incredibly low. And it will end up falling with these 4 Marines inside. The last of the Marines could actually have been cleaned up there. He could have picked up those 2 before he left. However, that's actually quite a bit of damage done, as it looks like Geo is just going to look to reinforce with a few more roaches here. Keeping this Terran player back on the other side of the map. The Terran player looking like he wanted to get some aggression out. Drop going on there, but you know, Geo hitting this timing as the tank does join the mix. The Liberator is on the way. So Geo has to get on top of this tank, or else these roaches will end up falling rather quickly. As he does lose the last of his roaches here. Geo might actually be seeing that this has been held, as there is a tank in the mix with these Marines and medevac healing them. Will make this incredibly hard to break this time. Terran is going to move down the ramp. He's just going to pick up and back up here. Realizing that Geo's army is sitting just outside here. There's no Ravagers in this mix, which would be incredibly helpful for knocking down this tank. As these Marines are coming way out here trying to get on top of this Zerg army. And baiting them back into the tank. Geo will take a third base here, realizing that this will not break Terran just yet, but he does have Terran kind of contained onto base. But the question is just how high will this tank count get before Geo realizes that he needs to do more damage than what he's done so far? As Terran is moving out on the map, armies will end up passing right by each other here, as Geo is going to move in and jump on top of this tank before he can get a shot off. A Liberator in the mix, he's going to have to walk his way out of that Liberation Zone and try and clean up these Marines. The Zerg army is actually pretty much trapped here behind this Liberation Zone. If he just gets baited back into this army, he's not going to be able to clean this up. This is why Ravagers are key to breaking this type of layout here. Liberator is going to get ignored as these Marines are going to chase these roaches off. Okay, he's finally adding in the Ravagers, but they're just going to get picked off before they can finish warping here. The Marine micro going on with the medevacs here as the Liberator is going to get repositioned, and Geo is just going to have to back up and head on home with his tail between his legs at this point. As there is a third base here, he's not joining up. There's 2 more drones on the way with +1 attack finally coming into play. But the question is, it's technically 2 base Terran right now versus 2 base Zerg. Third base has finished up but is not being mined from just yet. But the larva count does increase with this. As there are more roaches in the mix, there's only 1 Ravager here to work on this Liberator. As army supplies are about even, workers are catching up for Geo. That feel when your phone is on in the middle of a cast. The Marines are picking off some Overlords here. Supply capping Geo once again. As these roaches, there's no Ravagers again in this mix. There are no Ravagers to knock this down. He's just going to have to fight in the Liberation Zones if he wishes to break this Terran army. It is sieged up on both sides of the choke point here. This gap in the middle of this map here making this actually rather difficult to fight into, as you can't just swing around. He might be able to swing all the way around the bridge, but he will lose a third if that's the case. So at this point, as armies are... Okay, he does morph another Ravager here. He doesn't have enough Ravagers to knock down these Liberators, so he needs more of those Ravagers. As these Overlords are just rallied straight out, and he's bleeding Overlords left, right, and center here. Terran is actually going to pick up and move over and drop into this Liberation Zone here. First Ravager shot landing on top of his Liberator, not getting to kill it once still. But he forces the Liberators to re-siege, which is actually very key here for Terran. Because he will not have this now to defend, but he will kill off the larvae with these the Liberators. As tanks finally are joining the mix, and Terran is slowly building that conga line across the map. Geo, you're going to have to let this third go, man. You can't hold this third base here. You just back up on your ramp, get your Ravager count up, and push back into him. That's the only way you're going to break this. You're now down to 2 base, and Terran is actually getting 1-1 here. But there are Hydralisks on the way. These tanks are unsieged. That could be a huge pickoff. As Geo, all three are going to get picked up. And he's got to walk his way back across these Liberation Zones as the Terran is just going to fly up into the main, siege up. Ravager not getting a shot off before it dies. The first Hydralisk has also died. Liberator is finally coming up. There is a scan being thrown down here to try and look in there to see exactly where this army is at. As Terran is going to get pushed back, he's going to lose the army on the high ground, but however, there is a reinforced army on the bottom. Going to make their way into the natural base here. We're going to get to work on this Liberator, as a couple roaches are going to get picked off on by this Liberator up top before it gets picked off. The Liberator is going to siege up on the ramp. And this is looking very dire for Geo indeed. This might actually have to force him to tap out, as he's going to get to work on this tank. The Liberator has died. But there's just way too many Marines here to DPS down the last of these roaches as drones are beginning to fall. And Terra just pushing forward with 4 Marines here. 1 medevac already getting picked off. This Hydra's finally dying. It's not focusing down the medevacs. A couple more roaches are going to pop out here from behind. 1 medevac is completely devoid of energy. But it is going to push him back. And while there's a lull in the action here, I need to fix one thing. That is to turn off this right here. Yep, that was on. I usually play with health bars always on, so I usually just leave it on. Anyway. Terran is going to make his way back across the map. Once again, there is a 3rd base down for Terran now, so it is 2 base versus 3 base. And the army count for army supply for Geo is just heavily not able to keep up with this at this point. Roaches morphed into Ravagers are going to fire off, not connecting with these biles. As Terran is just going to push on forward and siege up once again on top of this ramp. Terran is going to push right on up here. Siege tanks are going to siege up on the back low ground here. And get to work on the natural. And Geo is eventually just going to have to give in. He's just going to have to tap out because at this point in time, this is the final push. Last's army is dead, and GG will be called. First game going in favor of DLife. As we get our next player lined up. For Insight Gaming, we'll be right back with you for the next. Alright guys, welcome back for game number 2 of DLife versus Insight Gaming. Oh, there we go. Spawning into the bottom right hand corner of Carnivore is the blue Zerg pieces from Insight Gaming. It is Xerxes. Spawning into the top left hand corner of Carnivore is the red Terran pieces, currently up 1-0 in the series. It is my body. Body with a great hold last game on that roach all in. Which I feel if Geo would have just thrown in some Ravagers earlier in that push, he would have been a lot better off. But as we take a look here, my body opening up very similar style as before. Going gas after the barracks here. So we're going to have the Reaper fast expand play. As we will have a hatch first for Xerxes. Turn down this music a bit, guys. I don't know how loud it is for you, but for me it's incredibly loud. I don't want to drown myself out. Anyway, Overlords are going to make their way across the map of Carnivore here to take a look around and see exactly what is going on in the main base. My body, our red Terran player. Brax is going to finish up. Reaper is on the way. Body going to throw down his command center, relatively similar position on the high ground, and then float down as a orbital has started up. Spawning pool is on the way as well. They're very standard openers overall. We wait to see exactly how every player is going to, or both players are going to follow up after this. The factory, your second racks is going to be thrown down before the factory. Get that marine count started, get the stim started as well. So very exact same opener as before. Very standard opener for Terran is that marine drop for that timing with stim. Overlord would have spotted the Reaper coming across. So Xerxes is going to know that there is a Reaper on the way. As Queens are started up. Reaper's going to get here before the Queens actually finish. There won't be anything to protect the drones on the low ground, but there are 4 Lings here. Throwing his grenade in the complete opposite direction of the Zerglings. I guess he was expecting either A, to have them trapped on the low ground, or B, he was just trying to throw it down to get the grenade shot off and he misclicked that. As Reaper is going to make his way into the main, the Zerglings are going to give chase onto the creep. He's going to get up in behind her. There's finally a Queen here to help push this away, as this Reaper is looking very trapped, and he might actually get picked off before he jumps down. There's another Queen on the low ground, and he's actually going to escape. As we know, Reaper is out of combat, will eventually start to heal back up. It looks like speed is on the way. Xerxes is just droning up on the other side of the map. Stim in the factory has started up. His Overlord should get away here from these couple Marines. Xerxes actually getting a scout off. Should know exactly what he's up against. Yeah. Should know exactly what this is. He's going to take a third hatchery down behind this. Reaper's still alive. Reaper is still alive. Looks like he's finally picked off a couple Lings for his trouble. The evolution chamber is on the way. Not too much else going on right now. A lair is morphing in the natural, however, for Xerxes, as this Ling is going to get the Reaper. Did you actually see that? No, he didn't see the... Okay, so he didn't see the lair on the way. But he does know that there is a third base coming down for Zerg. This Ling is actually going to go out and make sure there's nothing else on the map here to scout around. Give some vision on the map to watch for the drops coming in. No drops are on the way just yet. Starport is actually kind of delayed, starting up these medevacs as he is waiting on the factory to finish up. Engineering bay already coming down here for Terran. Gonna get the upgrades started for this push. 2 medevacs will start up. Unit count 13 Marines so far. His worker supply is 10 workers ahead for Xerxes here, and army supply is, however, in favor of our Terran player Mabadi. We're just waiting on these medevacs to come out here. Ling going to make its way across the map here to see exactly what is going on. As an Overlord is going to get positioned behind the base here to make sure nothing can get away from them. The drop is finally on the way. Is actually... I might actually get... Okay, nope. Xerxes knows that this drop is on the way. Question is, how is he going to respawn, and what does he have to respawn with? A Baneling Nest is just now finishing up. There's 6 more Lings, and +1 melee is on the way. As I just dropped my phone. The Baneling Nest has finished up. He dropped out here above the 3rd base. Xerxes looking like he has actually split his army up to be able to defend multiple locations here in case this actually comes in 2 different angles. We're going to throw down this creep tumor and is going to get picked off before we can get away. Things are in position here to clean this up. They're going to get us around on top of these medevacs. And medevacs are just going to pick them up and fly away. Queen is going to work on these medevacs, however. Xerxes is focusing them down as fast as he can. Banelings are being morphed right underneath these medevacs. And he should just turn head to the main. Looks like they're actually going to do. Going to pick off the Overlord in the back first, however. Pulling the army of Xerxes. Xerxes realizing it would have been a bad idea to go over there, so he's just going to come up here and get ready to defend in the main base. As these Marines are actually just going to make their way back south here. But there are Banelings here this time to push us away. Actually going to run on top here. One Baneling getting picked off. Looks like Terran is finally just going to pick up and head on home. As the Spire is on the way. The hooks are about to finish up here. The Centrifugal hooks for the Baneling speed. As Xerxes is just going to go into that Ling Bling Muta style. This seems to work so well against Terran. I think that's actually Xerxes' most comfortable style to play. As the Queen is going to get picked off here. He's actually just going to keep cleaning up these creep tumors. There's only 2 Banelings in the mix here to clean this up. As Terran is actually reinforcing with a couple Widow Mines and more Marines. And he's just going to head towards the main base yet again with this drop. Xerxes just trying to defend on multiple locations as he is taking a 4th base. And the 3rd base for Terran is down. Looks like Mavati is just going to rally up with his army over here. Should unload these medevacs here shortly. There we go. Okay, it looks like he's just going to push on in as a couple Lings are going to make their way down to the south here to check for that 3rd base and see exactly where this 3rd base is at. Mavati's just going to push forward here. There are Widow Mines in the mix this time. It'll make things very intriguing for how these detonations are going to go. That getting the best of connections as these Banelings are going to keep pushing all forward here and trying to get on top of these Marines before they get out of here safely. And he just gets a decent connection there as Marines are going to get picked up and have to go on home yet again. There's actually another small army starting to form over here on the other side of the map. A couple Widow Mines in that mix as well. Widow Mines are resetting. And these are going to be some very annoying Widow Mines. Should Xerxes just start rallying units to this point or running them over there, he could lose a lot of army to those 2 Widow Mines there. It's very annoying indeed. Easily forgotten about as well. As there are mutas on the map, Muta count is currently at 3. Workers count, however, is still heavily in favor of Xerxes. He actually moved these Widow Mines forward here. Very annoying position for that Widow Mine already with 9 kills. A bit of a traitor mine going down there, taking out a pack of Marines. As Mabadi is just deciding it is time to go. He's just going to keep pushing forward here at this point, keep applying the pressure to this Zerg. As he continues to push them back yet again. Upgrades are in 1-1 right now. Or +1 attack. Drones being pulled out of 3rd base is 5-7 drones are going to fall before they get away. The Queen went down as well. There's not much here left. Where are the mutas? The mutas are missing. There's still only 3 mutas here on the map that aren't being used. As he finally has some more mutas in the pack here. He's got some Queens here to help push this away. The Mabadi taking out the 3rd base and then backing up. She's just going to sit here, keep cleaning up the creep, keep the pressure on Zerg before they can't get out of hand here. While Xerxes is going up to that +2 melee with +1 air for his mutas. Widow Mines aren't burrows, so this should be a good time for him to go before his Widow Mines get set. As he is going to clean them up before they get only 1 shot off. And these Zerg army is going to finally clean up this Terran army and push these medevacs away as the Mutalists are going to give chase. And they should be able to catch these medevacs before they get home as their boost will run out. It looks like he's not even going to chase. However, already, as his style goes, there's already another army ready to go back home for Terran. Xerxes is going to push forward a little bit here, try and see if he can get on top here. He sees that there's an army here already. He's trying to get this army back home safely. Terran going to head... Terran's just going to head back straight across the map at this point. Need to push once again straight down the middle of the map here, as there is a lot of Banelings morphing here for this next engagement coming up. Marauder drop looks like it's heading towards the main base. However, also a run by a Zerglings who look like they're trying to get in position for a flank on this army. Widowmines did burrow and are set. As this drop does get spotted by an Overlord and is heading straight towards the main base. The question is, does Xerxes catch it? And is he ready for this? As he's rallying more queens over to meet up with this army. Mutas are heading out on the map as well to try and get some counter damage done as the drop in the main base should unload finally. There it goes. Zerg army once again getting cleaned up by the Widowmines. However, trading out as 3 drones have fallen on the other side back home. Ling's hard coming home to clean this up. What happened to the Mutas? Did the Mutas fall? Okay, the Mutas are here to help with this army in the middle of the map to clean it up. Getting one more medevac for the trouble as the Marauder drop has been cleaned up and the medevac is going to make his way home. Question is, when does Xerxes actually find a chance to get some damage done with these Mutas? These Mutas have been nothing but defensive Mutas for like the whole game so far. As an Overseer is going to get picked off there, but not foreseeing exactly where this army is. There are missile turrets in the mineral line. Xerxes is going to push in here as 2-2 is started up for Terran. The +2 carapace on the way for the Zerg army. Getting 4 SCVs for his trouble already. He's just bouncing back and forth between the bases. As there's no missile turret here in the main, he can go ham and just start picking off as many of these SCVs as you can. These Mutas are going to get on top of these Marines before they get to work on any more workers. He's actually throwing away the Mutalists here in the main. Not paying attention to his army at all. He's just trying to find as many SCVs as he can with these Mutas before he pulls them out. He's going to bounce back down here to the 30 yet again. He's just going to keep bouncing back and forth between the main and the naturals at this point. Or to third base. Picking off as many SCVs as he can. His 15 have gone down. There's no aggression on the other side of the map. As Xerxes is going up to a 5th base behind this. As 17 workers have fallen yet again. The Terran army finally coming back here to help push us away. As if Mutas realizing they've done enough. They're just going to head on home at this point. As we do have adrenal glands coming out. The hive layer now. Ultralists are on the way as well. You're going to see chitinous plating starting up here very quick as Crackling is an Ultralist. Should pretty much be the nail in the coffin as a Terran is still building a lot of Marines. +1 grounded attack is on the way. Looks like he's finally going to start transitioning into his tanks. But 2-2 is about to finish up for Terran as 5 Ultras have started up. There is a drop heading into the main base of Terran. Xerxes realizing that this is coming, he did see it. Going to start pulling his army back. The Ultras only about halfway done. His chitinous plating has this started up behind these as well. Adrenal glands finishing up. As it's all or nothing here for Zerg to hold on. If he holds on here and Ultra's tech comes out, he should pretty much win this game as Banelings are going to roll all on top of this army. He will clean it up beautifully, forcing these medevacs to retreat once again. The Queen's out in the middle of the map getting some damage done as these Lings are just going to keep going forward a little bit here to try and get some chase. As the Ultras are finishing up, the Ultra count at 5 currently. Drop's heading up to the north here. He's trying to find any damage he can. So this drop is going to head up here and try and get on top of one of these bases. It is going to keep rallying out units over here to try and make sure he can deal with the main threat of the Zerg army. But the Mutalists are getting on top of these medevacs, and these are full medevacs. He is going to get 1 for his trouble so far. He's going to get chased, try and get that second one as they unload here in between the 4th and the 5th base of Xerxes. But it will get cleaned up very easily with the Mutalists here. But not before at least getting 1 or 2 drones for his trouble, maybe a 3rd. As Terran is going to come back and finally clean this up. Picking off that medevac actually hurts a lot. He's actually finally going to knock down these rocks. I was wondering when somebody's going to do this. These rocks closing out the middle of the map here, making it much more harder for anybody to push around because you now have to come from the south or the north or knock down these walls. While Terran is going to be able to turtle up behind them and begin to pick off units. I don't think Xerxes is expecting these walls to be knocked down actually. Now he is going to head around to the south, the scan being thrown down to see exactly where this Terran army is. As we do have a sensor tower up. I hope give that map vision to know exactly where his army is. Xerxes is going to swing around to the north here. From the high ground. Another tower being thrown down here. There's also one in the 3rd, but this should also be more of a sign that there is a base down here in the 4th. As Terran is trying to get his economy established, as 3-3 is on the way, but Kite Displaying has finished up as 3-3 armor and attack coming down here for Zerg. Widow Mine's going off more or less on top of the Terran army, not really getting much of a detonation. Keeps microing back against these Banelings, however. Banelings are finally going to get cleaned up, but there are Ultras here as these Big Daddies are going to start chewing apart this Terran army. There's no Planetary in the third, which means he's pretty much free to just walk all over the Terran army at this point. Xerxes is going to keep backing up here. Transfusions being thrown down on these Ultras to try and make sure they stay alive. No counter-aggression from the Terran as his focus is here on this fight currently. As 2 Liberators are on the way to help with this. He just keeps stemming, but as he keeps stemming, this armor or health is getting lower and lower, making it much more easier for these medevacs to run out of energy faster. And these Ultras to get on top of this army and clean them up, as he is going to be forced to live. As Xerxes is just going to push right into the natural here and start cleaning up everything these Ultras can get their hands on. The giant pinchers is going to work here. Is on the ramp power, a good choke point to clean up some of these Ultras. As 32 workers have fallen. This should be GG at this point, as Terran is starting to realize that he's falling behind in worker count. He does have a base in the south that is going to get pushed away by some mutas. He's bleeding out army as much as Zerg is also, but Zerg is also rallying just as fast as he can across the map. More Ultras on the way. Mutas and Lings finally going to join the mix here, as this orbital looks like it might get focused down before it gets cleaned up by these Mutas. Mutas cleaning up the Liberators now. Mutas are going to keep pushing forward, cleaning up every single Liberator they can. As Xerxes is just going to keep pushing forward into the main of Zerg. There are actually Corruptors joining the mix now to help out with the Liberator count. And as you see, more and more army is just going to keep getting rallied across the map at this point. Xerxes, there's actually a scan being thrown down here to see if there's any base here. That might actually be it for our Terran player here. As units are going to pop out of these barracks and just going to get cleaned up immediately after. GG is finally called. As Xerxes ties the series of 1-1. Alright guys, we'll be right back as the next game will get set up here as fast as we can. I will catch you then. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back once again to our next game of DLife versus INGT. Series currently tied 1-1 as Xerxes has tied it up in the last game, but spawning into the top left-hand corner is the blue Protoss pieces of Sin Prime from DLife. Spawning into the bottom right-hand corner of Interloper is the red Zerg pieces of Xerxes, who just took your series and tied it up 1-1. Already there is a very cheeky probe coming out across the map. I'm kind of curious as to where this guy is going. Is there was a pylon thrown down at the front? It's a very early scouting probe indeed. I'm a little worried of what this might mean. There might be a pylon block going down here. Is there was a gateway thrown down at front? It looks like this is actually just a block the natural of Xerxes, who is now going to come down here and take it anyway. This probe is going to make his way into the mineral line here and take a look around and realize that the hatchery will be thrown down. The hatchery is hoping, I guess, to block. Not going to happen at this point. The spawning pool has started up. Keep an eye on this probe because this probe is actually still over here scouting around looking for something. He now sees the spawning pool and sees that there is gas. So a very standard opener indeed, as he will follow up with a nexus of his own back home in his natural. There should be a cybernetics core thrown down here shortly after. There we go. Completing the wall off. I think the wall off is actually set to be closed off up top. Xerxes is going to make his way over with his Overlord, see what's going on, where he can find it. There's already two gas coming down the main of Protoss. Very standard openings yet again. Nothing too crazy as Drode is playing tag here with his probe. Is now going to stop outside. Xerxes looking around, make sure there's no cheeky pylons anywhere around his natural or his main. Gas actually... Another extractor trick went down over here. Get that extra drone out. But that probe going to head on home here and make sure he can get back to work. There's a pylon thrown down the north side of the base for vision, or possibly to hide the tech. It's kind of hard to hide the tech when the Overlord just floats right in on top. Probe gonna make his way in here. Gonna head back home and start mining once again. Fellowship core has started up along with the stalker. Xerxes just canceled speed. What? Okay, he just canceled speed. So it either tells me, okay, so you go on a fast layer, which could mean there should be a roach war behind this, or for Nydus, or he could wind up going into a fast mutotech. Twilight Council is on the way, however, so this could be for charge lots. It could be for resonating glaives, as we do have an adept already on the map. There's no robo on the way just yet. Warp gate is being researched. Adept here looking around. You're going to shade on out of here. We're not going to be able to pick her off easily. But I'm really curious as what Xerxes has in store for us, because he canceled speed for a faster layer. As the robotics facility has started up, might be seeing more of a... Hasn't started anything yet. There's a Dark Shrine. Okay, so this looks like it's for the Archon drop. Okay, he's gonna get some Dark Templar, morph into Archons, fly him across the map, start harassing with that Warp Prism. Or he could just be going straight up into Dark Templar here. But with a layer on the map, that makes it very difficult, as an Overseer will just shut it down very easily. You see a Warp Prism start up immediately after this robotics facility is finished. As this adept is just getting some very valuable scouting information to realize that there is no third base on the way just yet. And his Spire has started up. Okay. This is very cheeky. So he saves the gas to reach Aspire faster. And not only that, but he hides it down here in the bottom portion of the map. This adept going to go on home. Smelling something fishy, obviously, but did that get scouted by any chance? No, it didn't even get scouted. Okay, this is going to be very, very entertaining to watch at this point, as there will be a Spire finishing up down here. At the same time, the Dark Shrine is going to finish up with a Warp Prism. This is actually almost a blind counter straight into this. As, he doesn't know, like, obviously. He knows that there is a Twilight Council thrown down there. Xerxes does anyway. But our Protoss player never spotted the Spire as he's heading straight for it now with his Warp Prism. The 7 mutas have already started up. Dark Templar being warped in here. Going to be lifted up and floated on down to the south here. It looks like they're going to drop into the south side of the main base. Is there any detection out yet? Is there an Overseer on the map yet? There's no Overseer just yet, so Xerxes has to hold on to get the Overseer started. And he's finally going to spot this fire. And he goes, oh, Xerxes, you madman. But he's not... He'll get the Warp Prism, but he won't be able to save the Spire, unfortunately. However, how many mutas did he get out? He got 9 mutas out so far. As these Dark Templar lost their ride home, they're just going to sit around on the map. Looks like they're going to head home. Which is actually interesting because he... Okay, Xerxes morphing another Overseer back home in his natural. He should be alright there. 2 Stargates have started up. So we're going to see some Sky Toss. About that. I just shut the dog up. The Zambutas are going to make their way into the third base here. Going to get to work on this Nexus. You might actually get it before any Stalkers come down here to push these away. There's a couple Dark Templar making their way down here. Going to be morphed into Archons. And Zambutas might actually pick off this Nexus. It is getting low. Archons are going to finish up beforehand though. Be able to push away these Mutas. As Xerxes is microing them out, trying to split them up. Trying to get the Nexus, trying to get the Archon. Gets one Archon for his trouble. The micro battle is real. Trying to save any mutas. Oh, he's actually going to get both Archons and the Nexus. His 2 Phoenixes will pop out here. As these mutas have more than paid for themselves at this point. As the Hydra's Den does finish up behind us. Here. Our production tab is moved. I don't know how that happened. Oh, somebody help me fix this. What did I do to put the production tab down here? Blink going to finish up, so there will be some blink in favor of these Phoenixes to help deal with any other pesky mutas. However, Xerxes is just moving into that Ling Bling Hydra composition as he takes a 4th base in the south. Production tab has disappeared. Can't get it to come back. It's down here in the bottom right corner now. This is weird. Anyway, these Phoenixes are going to head on home here. Trying to pick off a queen for the trophy. There's just too many queens here for him to do anything with that. Does he know about... Does he actually get a scout on this Hydra then, though? No, he doesn't even know that the composition is already swapped to the Hydra Ling Bling. As these Phoenixes are flying around here trying to get any scouting information they can and trying to pick off a queen or two. From there, go posture outside the 4th base. There are already queens in place to try and knock these down. As a unit count is only at the 7 Hydras so far with 34 Lings. There's still 3 mutas in play. Not going to get a Phoenix here just yet. The queens is trying the hardest to get one. Gotta run by Lings in the south coming up here to see that there is no 4th base from our Protoss player. As there is another Warp Prison, the Stalkers are just posturing outside here, make sure nothing can come in from the north. And Xerxes is going to make his way on up here, see that these rocks were knocked down, going to get to work on them. Try and open up this map a little bit. Meanwhile, on the other side, Overlord will get picked up here by Protoss. Before moving south here to see that these rocks are getting knocked down by a handful of Lings. Xerxes is probably just going to let these guys go. As they were just there to get the scouting information to see exactly what army composition he's going to have to deal with in the future. As the Hydra count keeps growing. Bling Bling Hydra, folks, has become more of the standard composition to see in ZVP matchups. As Lings are going to make their way in from the north here. Going to morph some more Banelings right here in the south. Looks like he's trying to set up a bit of a split composition. And get the concave on top of this Protoss army as he makes his way forward here. Hydra's trying to get through these rocks here. Awful choke point for these Hydras to be at. His force fields are going to come down. blocking out the banelings in the back. These Hydras in the front not getting anything done, as the Hydras in the back are also stuck and can't really go anywhere. Leaving Protoss just to pick off everything in sight, as a few Hydras on the north side are going to get some work done, killing 10 probes. So economic damage already being done for this push. Xerxes cleaning up the last of his pylon cannon, as he will get the third base once again. To finish it off before he leaves. He forced the Protoss army back. There's actually a disruptor in the composition. And as we know, disruptors can do a lot of damage to a clumped up Hydra army if it's not split. +1 melee is finally on the way for his Zerglings. As the first disruptor shot goes out and destroys half his Hydras. That also reveals the tech. Too gruesome for your eyes, folks. Sorry. You're not allowed to see such mature rated content on this stream. Pretty juicy detonation though, overall. Xerxes is just trying to figure out what is going on. There are some more Dark Templars being morphed in here. More likely to be turned into Archons. And in the south there are some DTs making their way into the third base of Xerxes. He's going to get to work on this, as there is an Overseer here. Grand Chief is coming down on this hatchery as drones are going to start being chased down. 2 drones falling. The Queen is going to fall as well. Some Lings popping out here to help clean this up as the entire army comes back to pick off these DTs. The 7 drones have fallen. Causing some mining time as well, as a Spire and a Spore Crawler are going to start up down here. I'm so confused as how my production tab just disappeared down to the bottom corner. So weird. The Protoss looks like he's going to move on the map now. Army supply in favor of Xerxes, however, you know, as some good detonation hits can make this change rather quickly, and Archons here at the splash damage. Poor Queen going to get picked off. You can't be too gun happy or trigger happy with these disruptors just yet. There's no force fields to block this off, but there are some Templar in the back here. Is Storm finished? He doesn't have Storm yet. Xerxes knocking down these rocks, trying to open up the map a little bit. So he has some room to maneuver around the map here. As Prime, or Sin Prime, just posturing up here. Some disruptor shots get ready to come out. Oh! Ooh, what a detonation hit. Cutting down these Hydra count. He decides he's going to push forward a bit as the second one comes in. Picking off 3 more Hydras for his trouble. That's it for disruptor shots. And Xerxes going to keep pushing forward here. There's no Mothership Core here to help with this. Is Warping coming down. Some of these are already getting picked off. He's just going to keep pushing forward. His 2-2's about to finish up in the middle of this push. Getting as much as he can. Is Protoss going to be able to hold on here? I think he will. As these Immortals are just going to keep knocking down everything. The Stalkers here. But there are Lings here. Cleaning up the last bit of this army. That might actually be it. As 2 more probes are falling. Whippers will come home. And GG will be called. Xerxes putting on a show so far. Picking up 2 wins in a row. And 2 very different matchups of ZVP and ZVT. Alright guys, I'll be right back. I need to use the restroom. While we wait for our next player to come in. I need to get some airflow in here and make sure this dog doesn't bark again, because that dog is very annoying. Anyway, I'll be right back. Alright guys, I just want to say sorry about the delay. We are currently waiting on DLife's first Masters player to get on. There is up to a 10-minute period in which they can decide on map and have their player show up or decide on their next player. So that's what we're currently waiting on. So once we get through that 10-minute period, if they don't show up, there we go. I was gonna say, right on cue. But say at the end of that 10 minutes, you have to move on and find the next player, and that player basically will not be here. Counts as a loss. Alright guys, welcome back to the next game between DLife and Insight Gaming. The score is currently 2-1. Xerxes taking 2 games off the Diamond players. Putting on a clinic there. And responding to the bottom left-hand corner is the blue Zerg pieces of Xerxes from Insight Gaming. And spawning into the top right-hand corner is the teal Protoss pieces, who's already sending out a probe. It is Apex. Interesting note about Apex, he did queue up as a random player. So this was his random race. He did get Protoss. As a drone is making its way to the top side of the map, looks like he's dodging the probe, or the pathing here is actually going to send it around that way. As the probe is going to make his way into the natural here and try to deny this hatchery from going down. Already doing that very well. As a probe versus drone, I do believe the probe wins here. So the probe will come down here to finish off this probe, or drone will come down to finish off this probe. He'll be able to throw down his hatchery. So drone makes its way into the main of Apex, causing a bit of a mining delay, or attempting to. Killing his minerals and heading on home. You'll see the natural is down, as a gateway is as well. But the question is, will Xerxes pull something similar as he did last time with that cheeky spire? The 9 mutants that more than paid for themselves? Or will he play a more standard, straight out game? You do see hatch gas pull as the opening, making it look very standard indeed. As the drone is just going to make his way on home here, or over here to start to throw down a third. As the first Masters player of Apex is going up against Xerxes. Diamond tier. Let's see a drone or a hatchery come down here very soon. A second gateway and a cybernetics core being added on a lot earlier this time around. As the Nexus finishes up. Xerxes is playing a little bit more greedy. Trying to get that third base. Trying to get his economy up faster. Parallax is being pretty standard on 2 base. Getting the Zealot to finish his wall off. Sure we could get in it through there. Overlord is going to make his way on up to the north side of the map. Take a look at what's going on in here. See if there is a pylon here. Not going to really see any tech at all. Just yet anyway. As 2 adepts are on the way, they'll be making their way across the map shortly to see exactly what they could pick off and maybe get a few drone kills. Maybe a queen. Who knows? We'll see that there is a third base on the way, which will be finishing up here very soon. Motion core as well as speed have started. Xerxes looking like he's going to let this speed finish this time around, as he didn't cancel it. Going to start his creep spread here from his natural. There's no lair on the way just yet, but we do have a Twilight Council coming down for Apex. Now again, this could be to go into a Dark Shrine tech. It could be to go into Resonating Glaze or a Charge, and go into the Warp Prism Charge Lock build that's been kind of busy or popular lately. Other than that, we'll just have to wait and see as there is an Evolution Chamber on the way. The 2 adepts are going to make their way back out, getting 1 drone for their troubles, getting that scouting information, seeing that there is a drone down, as well as a evolution chamber. Just going to make their way back home here. And yes, we will see Resonating Glaze this time around, as well as 2 more gateways starting up. There is no robotics facility just yet, so there won't be any kind of Warp Prism play so far. I see the depths are going to make their way back onto the map once again, as a couple of Zerglings are going to make their way around to the south here to try and see the timing on this third, which we'll see just starting. He's going to put these Zerglings on patrol here, make sure he can scout and see exactly what's going on, as these 2 adepts are going to make their way into the north side of the base. Going to get to work here, trying to pick off as many drones as they can. They're going to get 1 for their troubles, get a second 1 for their troubles, and a third. Just picking up drone kills left and right before going on home. That's 4 workers picked up. Almost losing 1 adept there, as it is a lab of 17 health. He's just going to keep shading these adepts back home. No reason to throw them away just yet. The third base is going to start getting poked and prodded here by a couple lings. Oh, did he get picked off? Actually, quite a big response coming out of that. That's actually a bit of a key thing to note there, is he pulled his entire army down there for a couple lings, as well as a Mothership Core. Is already seeing how he responded to that. It looks like he is going to try and come out here and punish this with a bit of a roach push. With +1 melee on the way for his lings. Lings are going to make their way into this third base once again. See that there is an army here. See exactly how Xerxes responds to this. There is charge on the way behind us, as we do see 3 more gateways being added on. As he's going to make his way into the third base here. Gonna try jump right on top of this pylon, hopefully, before he gets it off. Okay, well, he is gonna clear up the pylon. But not before he loses 1 or 2 roaches to the Zealot. Roaches are going to force a pull on this middle line. His 3 probes will fall. His 4 probes will fall. And he is going to try and get these adepts before they shade out of here. He does get 1 for his troll. This Mothership Core continuing to throw these ping pong balls at it. As Ravager is going to morph right up underneath him. He's going to come down here and start getting to work on this 3rd base. Ravager is going to get picked off before it is finished. 3rd base should end up falling behind this as these roaches are just lined back, or being good blockers here for this army. It looks like he is going to manage to break it and be forced to go on home. As he's going to keep going here. 5 more probes have fallen. Total so far. But overall, trade for Xerxes being incredibly more beneficial here as he's behind on workers. And he's finally building more drones, but it looks like he's trying to just break this 3rd base position of Protoss. As 5 more roaches are on the way, but this time there are Ravagers in the mix to knock down the Mothership Core to force his Protoss to have to split up a little bit more. Is he going to make his way in here? First Stalker is looking like he's going to get focused down. His 2 pylons have finished up, forcing a Photon Overcharge out of this. Loses 1 Ravager, but another one morphing already. This Mothership Core at half health. There should be another Corrosive Bile coming down here on top of these pylons. Trying to actually pick off this Mothership Core. As he's just going to bypass the turret and start making his way up to the main, as there is no army on the ground here. Going to march on forward. Oh, please get the pylon. And Artosis pylon just needs to fall. And just powering 2 gateways in the Cybernetics Core right now. It is finally going to get picked off. Unpowering these 2 gateways at the front as 2 more probes have fallen. There is an army. Oh, wow, it's Overlord. So there's an army there. But anyway, he's just going to keep pushing forward here. And this might actually break Protoss already. His 3 drones are falling on the other side of the map, however, to a huge phase of depths that came across. They're going to get to work on his 3rd, his Evo Chamber, but Xerxes is just forcing more of a base trade. It's just pushing on across the map. He knows that Protoss has lost. That Photon overcharging his low ground pylon. He's just going to keep pushing forward as the high ground pylon is going to get overcharged. Immortal going to pop out, but not before it unpowers his gateway and these 2 robos. Probes being pulled off the line. But 18 workers are falling. Is Xerxes just going to keep forcing this, or is he going to try and clean up this push back? Alright, he does have army back home. Trying to clean up these roaches. Are going to follow the phase here. It looks like these will get cancelled and not be caught at all. But on the other side of the map, the army of Xerxes is finally getting cleaned up. Which begs to differ. Xerxes down 12 workers at this point. Has Apex done it? Has he beat the Xerxes? Looks like Xerxes just playing smart here, backing off. Realize he may have overextended a bit. Gonna keep it poking with these Ravagers, try and break down Protoss a bit. He does force his shields on that Immortal, so that's on cooldown right now. As he's the depth, or Immortal. Oh, these 4 Overlords. The rally point Xerxes had set earlier is just gonna give Apex like 4 Overlords for free here. As there is some army here to help push away this army of Protoss, but as you know, Immortals are pretty big daddy. As another pylon has started powering up these once again. First of Bile landing on top of the Protoss army as both armies are just kind of posturing here, trying to see exactly who's going to make the first move. It looks like Xerxes is going to push forward into Apex yet again. Why is he hasn't finished off this 3rd base yet? He just left it sitting here. Because things are rallying in with this army at this point, and Xerxes is just going to keep pushing into Apex. Another warp in on the low ground for Apex. As a Photon Overcharge does go down. Pylon Cannon going to get focused on by a few Roaches here. He's actually trading a lot to this 1 Photon Overcharge. Finally, not actually going to finish it up just yet. Xerxes is bleeding out army here. He was trying to drone up behind this, and Roach Speed is finally on the way. But these Corrosive Biles are actually landing on top of some of his units as well as the army of Apex. As we are going to reach a bit of a lull here in this game. Both players are trying to get the economy back up and running. Finlings on the way for Xerxes. But what is his tech follow-up for this? There's no hive or no hive on the map just yet. No infestation pit anywhere. As 2 forges are going to come down. It looks like this actually, yeah, the upgrades were in favor of Xerxes there with the +1 melee. But Charge of Resonating Glades helping out a lot. As a Warp Prism is making his way across the map. Going to come down here and see that there is a 4th base. So he's going to fly right around it. He may not even see this 4th base, actually. He's just going to head straight on into the main. But does Xerxes know about this? That's a real question. Apex might be able to get in here and get some more economic damage done to a Zerg, who's already being forced to drone up again. 4 more roaches are on the production tab. 2 more drones are falling. They will come in here, lift these adepts up, and get on out of here. But look, actually, one will get picked off before it gets out safely. So follow-up finally on the way. The Hydralisk Den has come down. But the Warp Prism dropping off the adepts down here at this 4th base. Trying to see if we can get this cleaned up. Not really going to get to force to cancel or anything, as he's going to be forced to pick them up and then get on out of here again. But both players have reached a lull of kind of like they're just trying to get their armies together at this point, as 1-1 has started up finally for Protoss. 11 minutes in, upgrades are finally on the way. This 3rd base is up and running still for Protoss. I was a little disappointed that didn't get sniped, but I'm not going to say anything to that. As Xerxes does take a lead on base count, it's not mining just yet in the 4th. 5 Hydras are on the way, with +1, as well as the augments for our Hydras. On the other side of the map, 1-1 still on the way with Robos. But it looks like Protoss has decided, I'm going to make my push now. And Xerxes may not be ready for this. He only has a handful of units out. There's a few Roaches and some Hydralisks, and as the push makes his way across the map. This is a huge Protoss army. This is a death ball of an army if I've ever seen one at this point in time. His upgrades are about to finish up. But Hydras are being built. They're on the production tab right now. Blink has just started up as well. He's going to make his way into the 4th base of Xerxes here and begin to knock this down. Xerxes is realizing smartly that it's best not just to let this go. He can always rebuild. His Ravagers are on the, morphing on the tab, or in production now. And +1 range is about to finish up. Xerxes is kind of with a pretty good position here, but these Immortals are huge. Immortals are just going to be able to do so much damage. His force fields are coming down to zone out this army. The Corrosive Biles are being thrown down here, trying to pick off what they can. There is a Warp Prism here, so he will be able to reinforce with this, as a huge Warp Wind is already coming in. And Xerxes is realizing he might actually be in a bit of trouble here, as the Warp Prism is not being focused down, but he is pushing Protoss back down the ramp a little bit. More Corrosive Biles landing, as there's no more units on 34 links have just been queued up. But is that enough to clean this up, as his army is just dwindling down to the last bit? As our worker supply, or army supply, is now 43 to 29. Things are about to pop out, as Protoss is just going to make his way, get on top of the rally points for Zerg. And push right into the natural, as these Lings are going to pop out and get picked off. He's trying to get the engagement he needs here for these Lings. Lings working on the Stalkers and the Immortals in the back, but just going to get cleaned up. And GG will have to be called here shortly for Xerxes, as there's not much left here, as another Warping of Adepts is going to make their way into the 3rd base. Xerxes has to realize that he may not be able to hold this, as 15 more drones are going to fall here. And a bit of an overextension in the early game, as it proceeded into the late game, is going to cost him this one. GG will be called, tying at the series 2-2. As the next game will be up and running here shortly. Next player in is going to be Stillafox. That gaming. Available till 9, so you might have to make. That's alright. Oh, let me get our next player in here. Alright everybody, welcome back to the next game of the series as it's finally Masters v Masters. The series tied 2 apiece, and spawning into the bottom left hand corner, representing Insight Gaming, is our first Masters player of Still a Fox. I think it's a red tearing pieces. And spawning into the top right hand corner, up against a Terran player, is the blue Protoss pieces of Apex from DLife. Which tied the series up 2-2. Of a pretty rough game, actually. Xerxes kind of overextending last game, kind of forced him to lose a lot back home. Nat just kind of backing off a little bit, getting some more army together, and then pushing it at a third, which he could have broken easily had he not decided to just go for the natural and go for the Protoss. Anyway, as we come back over here, we will see that both players are going to start up very, very similar. You know, typical standard opener so far. As we do have gas first that went down for our Terran player. We will see a Reaper come in. As if Still a Fox is going to SCV scout here. Make his way across the map. Find out exactly what race he's playing against, which will be Protoss, which... past history, he hasn't really had too many good games with Protoss. So he's just trying to figure out exactly what he's got to do to beat them. But he's going to make his way into the natural remain here and see that he is against a Protoss player. And that is... kind of has to make me wonder what he's thinking about this. Because he did have to play against random. We do have a Cybernetic core and a second gas being added on, so very standard Protoss opening. This SCV is not quite making his way back home just yet. Unless he's going the long way around. Yeah, looks like he's going the long way. Command Center has started up for Still a Fox. No Orbital has started up as well. Reaper about to make his way out on the map. There's a factory follow-up as well coming down here. First mule is on the way as the probe is going to make his way across the map. Actually, heading northbound either for a third base. For a third base? Oh, he looks like he's scouting. Trying to make sure there's nothing hidden out here. Proxy play, basically. As the Reaper is on his way out here. He's actually going to hit just before this Stalker finishes up. Just before this Motion Core finishes up. So he might be able to get in here and get a probe for his troubles. And then head on home. As the Stalker is going to pop out here and push him away either way. Very nice timing on the Stalker to push away Mr. Reaper here. As he looks like he's just going to give chase to this Reaper and finally he's going to come back and take his position up on the high ground. This Reaper isn't going to be able to get too much more out of this, out of him, at the Budget Core and his Stalker is here to push this away. Both players playing that macro style game as the starport has started up. Looks like we will be seeing a Widowmine drop from Still a Fox. Orbital Command Center does start in his natural on the other side of the map. A Twilight Council does start up. So something to take note here is there's no robotics facility before this Twilight Council, which means there will be no detection on the map. So is Still a Fox going to hit a timing here with these warp prisms, or with these with these warp prisms? Still thinking Protoss, but with these medevacs, if he can get in here and hit a timing with these Widowmines, he's going to push away the Stalker. Is the Stalker going to get denied some crucial information here? He's about half health, which means he should be able to come down here and just finish off this Stalker pretty quickly as it pushes on forward here, trying to shave off a Marine or two. As soon as this medevac pops out, we should see these Widowmines get loaded up and head on home. Blink has started up, so this could very much be a Blink all-in, as a Forge will be followed up here for 2 gateways. 4 gate with Blink, very old style play. As a few more Stalkers are making their way across the map, so this is going to be a very interesting situation here. As a medevac might actually just skirt right around this. Nope, he did get seen. Now he's just going to bring these Stalkers home to get ready for this drop. The Stalkers will actually beat this medevac back home because of the pathing it's taken. But as we see a tank followed up here, with the Robo about to finish up and Blink on the way, he shouldn't be able to get too much out of these Widowmines now. As there is Blinks or Stalkers here to push us away, as well as a Photon Overcharge is going to head straight into the main. And Fox is going to actually lose the medevac and not even get this Widowmine to burrow. Actually, we'll get a Stalker as well as 2 probes. Very nice pickup there. Unfortunately, he lost the other medevac, however, as an observer will start up here. This Widowmine might get another shot off, or will get another shot off before it gets picked off by this observer. So he should get 1 more Stalker for his trouble. Whoever does finish up before the shot can go off. Now, what does this prompt? It prompts a third base out of Apex here. But is he going to go for more of his aggression like he had planned to? As a Warp Prism does start up behind this, and Blink is finishing up. The 1-1 is Stim, or +1 and Stim is on the way with a tank and some Marauders in the mix already. The question is exactly how well, or what is it going to come down to? Will Fox be able to hold here and break this Protoss display? As this isn't an all-in. He has a third base. This isn't an all-in type of play, but there is a tank on the low ground here. But Blink is done, which means he can blink on top of these tanks. As that's probably going to be the play. SCV is getting pulled to repair this bunker, as the Blink Micro has begun. Stalker's going to get to work on these rocks to open up a different avenue to attack here, but Fox already set up with a second bunker to the south here, so he can defend with that. But as production not finished up, we have double Marauder production, Medevacs on the way. Third base and Colossus with Thermal Lance has just started up. Now, Fox probably needs to either make a play here soon, or he's going to have to drop a scan and get some information scouting here, because he has no idea this is good. This is on the map. He has no idea that this sector is. Besides the fact that there was a robotics facility on the map or in play, he doesn't know about the bay, which is going to be the key thing for him to find out here. As a Marine's going to make his way across the map, he's going to be on third base. He gets up here and sees this. There's a pylon coming down the middle of the map to get that vision. If he picks up this probe, actually. He might be able to get a probe for his trouble here. He's just going to head on up to a third base. These pylons are here to give himself some vision, as the first Colossus has finished up. But Thermal Lance is not done quite yet. There are no upgrades other than Blink, as 1-1 will finish up probably before this push gets in here. As Fox is going to make a move on this third base. But this is something Fox has figured. He has figured out. There is a Marine here trying to draw some attention the other way. But what Fox needs to do is split this army up and hit from multiple locations, because he's fighting into this type of army here. He has Marauder heavy, yes, but he's already losing. He's got a tank siege up, so he won't be losing this fight just yet. He will push his Protoss army back, and he has had a timing here that might actually be in his favor. 1-1 has yet to finish up for Protoss, as the tanks are going to reposition and siege up yet again. Tanks are going to get to work on these Stalkers. Going to pick off a couple more for the trouble. Cutting that Stalker count down is going to help here. But what matters is now is another Colossus on the way, and Thermal Lance has finished. This is where things are going to get tricky for Stilla Fox, because Stilla Fox is just going to be able to get outranged by the Colossi in the back before these Widow Mines even get a shot up, and a blink on top of the Terran army, as the tanks are going to be forced to fire on his own units. But Fox may have broken them, as he's going to keep pushing forward here, trying to get on top of these the Colossus. If probes are going to block him. He needs to pick off these Colossi before anything else. There's Liberators all the way on the map, 3 more Marauders, but there is a Disruptor, so this is where things are going to get fun. You can see some Disruptor play with these Colossi. This is very much a defensive Disruptor, as there's only 3 Marauders here. As 3 more Gateways are being added on, but 12 workers have been killed off, and on the other side of the map, he has finally figured it out. He's hitting on multiple sides, the third base, forcing Protoss to stay defensive. While he works on his third, he will get the Nexus. As the first Disruptor shot comes out, he's going to lose out a chunk of units, sure, but he does get the third. Which, now that this army is out of place, Fox can actually just push forward here. He can just push right into the natural, but it looks like he's going to back up, rally back up, get some army back together. But it also gives Protoss time. He does take his own third base, however. He is going to start getting saturated, get it mining. Another starport is added on with an armory. You're trying to get them air upgrades started. Trying to get his 2-2 started. At this point, it just turns into who can outmax who fastest. But again, he's on the clock still. This is still a very formidable Protoss army as he's getting ready to march across the map here. Disruptor is going to be able to force him to have to micro against that, and he's going to have to deal with the Colossus in the background. And he scans and realizes that the army is missing, but a third base has come down. So you will see the army on his doorstep. Question is, how is he going to respawn here? He has the Liberators. This Marine actually very lucky on that first salvo thermal lances for the Colossus. Protoss checking for the third base, realizes he's not out front. As he's got to siege up these Liberators. As the first Disruptor ball is actually going to get a pretty decent connection there. As the second one is going to come out on top of this army and a huge detonation on the disruptors. But however, has the Fox done it? Has he pushed into the Protoss? Not quite yet. There's a Warp Prism here. Liberators are on siege, trying to make sure these Colossus can get focused down as more Marauders are coming out here. And it is slowly turning this Protoss army to goo. And he does push past the Liberators. So not all the Liberators were sieged there. So this is a very, very annoying situation for Terra to be in. As you get pushed back up this ramp, these Liberators aren't getting any value out of them. This is why Vikings in my favor all the time against Colossus. And so the question is, he's fighting on top of these Liberators. Will he be able to break Protoss here? He's cleaning up the last of the Stalkers. The SCVs are being pulled from the third. But is it enough? Is Disruptor Ball coming out, getting another decent connection on the measly, or the dwindling army of the Arcturian player? Last Colossus has fallen. But was it enough? Was it enough indeed? Willem or Medevac getting picked off. A few Stalkers here, but another round or reinforces the Stalkers coming in. Repositioning these Liberators. And it's coming down to just a handful of Marines to hold out. As Protoss did expand behind us, but this third base is very vulnerable at this point. 3 Marauders on the production tab, 4 Marines, and 6 Zealots on the warp in. As Fox might actually be in trouble here at this point, as this rally of reinforcing the Zealots coming in here could actually break this third base. As he's just building bio right now. There's no other Colossus but Templar Archives on the way. The storm will be a factor here coming soon. So it's coming down to... Oh, he's going to save the command center. But it's coming down to Fox has to break him soon. He has to finish his game off before Storm becomes a play. Otherwise, Protoss is just going to be right back in this game and be able to get even more value out of his army. As a Marine on the other... A couple Marines on the other side of the map here. Working on this Nexus. Drawing some attention away as a few Zealots are going to come in here with charge. Be able to clean these guys up. But it did prompt the entire army to move back across the map. As the Warp Prism is sitting out here completely vulnerable. That is actually a huge pickoff for Fox, as that reinforcement pylon is basically gone now. As Fox is going to make a push here on third base yet again. There's no Storm. He's actually just morphing Archons. There's no Storm. The Bears need to be careful as they try to get sieged up here. Fox pushing forward yet again. That Concussive Shell doing work on these Zealots. Make sure they can't get away. Liberators get sieged up once more and try to force a fight underneath them as one is already going to get picked off. Pushing forward is Fox trying to break the Protoss once and for all. A feedback on the Medevac. Didn't kill it, but there's no more energy on that Medevac to heal with. As Liberators being forced to re-siege once again, these Archons are getting cleaned up. The Liberator finally getting cleaned up. And it looks like it will be pushed back once again. And this army getting cleaned up as Fox is rallying more across the map, but it's turned into a very scrappy fight indeed. This Liberator is actually going to make his way to the other side of the map here. We're going to siege up behind his third base and try and get some more economic damage done as Fox is behind 6 workers. The army supply is incredibly even. As siege, he's not going to be able to get anything there as he realizes a mistake. However, just going to get blinked on. Might get one. Nope. Wow. That is one lucky Stalker. 12 HP left. Fox's rally points are actually still rallying across the map. I don't know if he notices this or not, but it looks like he's finally realizing it and pulling back what he can. So as we sit here and try to figure out what Protoss' next step is, Storm is finally on the way. A couple more Templar on the way as well. Another Warp Prism on the map. Realizing the next fight might actually end the game, as Storm is not finished up just yet. These Templar are actually very vulnerable. So it's going to come down to the Storms here that will decide whether or not Fox will be able to stay in this game. This is a very scrappy fight indeed. These Liberators are going to siege up. Unsiege yet again, scanning to see where this army's at. He's trying to force a fight in a much better area for himself. First Storm coming down here on top of this army. Now storming the Liberators. They're going to get picked off as well. And another huge Storm coming down on top of this Terran army as Storm just gets and cleans everything up. GG is called. And after a very scrappy 15-minute game, it just proves that Storm is still the way to go for Protoss. Like, Storm Colossus will just tear just about any Terran player apart if you just don't micro against it or you don't get the ghost tech at that point. Anyway, as we get to the next game, it'll be 3-2 DLife going into the final match for Insight Gaming. Let's see if they can hold on. Alright guys, welcome back for possibly our final match of the night. This is a 3-2 in favor of DLife. It's Insight Gaming. And spawning into the top left-hand corner of Era Meta is the red Zerg pieces representing Insight Gaming, trying to keep them alive. Is too drunk. But the question is he too drunk? Spawning in the bottom right-hand corner is the blue Terran pieces, this time, at Protoss. We have Apex. Gonna be a bit of a change here as he's played his past 2 games as Protoss. We'll have to see exactly how he finds this game to go. Makes do with this game. Already we will see a drone heading out across the map. Whether it is cheeky or not, we will soon find out. Looks like he's just making his way towards the main here. And some thing to note right now about this map is that back here we do have... Actually, we have 2 racks going down. This looks like it could be 2 racks Reaper. This drone is going to come in here and try and pick off this SUV. Because there is these 2 SUVs we'll get to work on trying to push him back. It does slow down that second rack a little bit. Some kind of win there. Something to note about this map is there is a very long cliff jump up on, so Reapers on this map will be very effective. There's also some rocks back here on this back ramp. A lot of people tend to forget, as we do see a 3rd rack on the way. And it's just outside your vision of your main, so on both sides means you have a chance to just knock these down, you know, surprise your opponent a little bit. As on the other side, we did see 2 drunk opening up, pretty standard, pretty safe. He does have a pull out. No speed startup just yet, but there is a hatchery down. Drunk gonna float his overlord on in here to try and see what he can spot with this one. Post this one up outside the 3rd and the natural of our Terran. As the first 2 Reapers are on the way and the orbital command center is following up right behind it. They're going to get to work on these rocks here. Make sure he can knock them down. Open up this ramp a little bit. So the Happy Zerg is on a happy map. Microing away from that Reaper grenade as this Reaper is just going to get to work on this natural. Be very annoying as he continues to send signals to his Terran buddy or his Zerg buddy over here that his base is under attack. Looks like there is a way for Reapers to jump up in here as Udruk has spotted these fences, and he will be right here to try and pick up these Reapers. The surround coming down here. A great micro to getting back out, only losing 1 Ling, however. This Queen is pulled out of position, and the Lings are positioned on the ramp here to try and catch him as Reapers are rallying across the map. Speed is about to finish up, and the second Queen has popped out. Question is, will he be able to push away these Reapers without losing too many more Lings or losing a Queen? Microing off creep. 3 Queens in production on the tap field now. There's 3 more. And the second barracks is all the way. But once speed finishes up, this is going to become a very difficult hold for our Terran buddy to keep this pressure up. As you open up with a very cheeky style. Reapers are going to make their way back in here. There's now 4 in the mix. Just going to jump straight up into the main. And 2 drunk already all over this. Being able to come in here, Lings being knocked away. But being able to push these Reapers back once again. As this Queen is in incredible danger of being taken out. Reapers are being forced to back up as the Lings do come down to save it. Trying to get one of these Reapers is being rather difficult as this player just continues to micro them back. He's going to jump right up into the main. But he's not losing drones. So that's one thing, but he's not making drones either. As this Reaper, a couple Reapers finally getting picked off here. As Reapers are a unit of momentum, which means as long as you can keep Reapers alive, you will have more Reapers. As 2 Drunk says, enough's enough. I'm going to make my way across the map. I'm going to come over here and knock on your door and see how you respawn. Reapers are postured up right outside here. He's actually going to be able to pick up a Reaper all the way home. The pack of Lings are going to make their way back, and he's going to get jumped on the cliff here and get pushed right back. And meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Lings are going to start knocking on the door, trying to knock down something to get in here. Is there a couple Reapers here to push us away? And as all he continues to make is Reapers with a Baneling nest coming down, so we will see a Baneling or Ling bust follow up after this, a Ling bust. These Reapers are going to be forced to go home. Was there a factory added on? No, there was no factory, and this natural was super late, which means... Oh man, this supply center or supply depot is going to burn down. Actually, to save it, I saved there. As the Reapers were brought home, Tech Lab finally being added on with a reactor, so he's transitioning out of this, but slowly. As the Banelings are going to get morphed right outside the door here. This is going to be huge. If these Banelings get picked off, though, this drop will end. It's going to end as soon as these Banelings all die. As the detonations go down, and every single Baneling being cleaned up. Huge pick off for these Reapers, slowing down this Baneling bust. Dude, George's Heslings just stop everywhere on the map, basically. So he is going to keep this up. He is finally going to take a third, which is... A Reaper opening only works if you can kill some drones and keep Zerg back. If you let them out, that's the problem. However, you have this many racks. You're going to be able to start up Stim here shortly. You have your factory in play. But it's now down to just these Reapers and a couple of bunkers to hold. But when in doubt, folks, bunker out. As we will see, the Lings making their way into the natural once again. They're going to posture up here and start knocking down the rocks at the third base. Oh, don't let these Banelings hit. Don't let these Banelings hit. Come on, Too Drunk. Okay. That's looking scary, man, the way they kept walking forward. Banelings hitting every single Reaper grenade on the way in. Are going to knock down this wall. Reapers are going to get cleaned up as he's gotten in. Bunker here, going to get the last Baneling detonated on, but Too Drunk is going to have to back off. He did clean up all the Reapers, but these bunkers are now going to pose the next problem. So you can just repair them. Be ready to go as the starport finally on the way. And it's going to come down to a 2-base Terran versus a 3-base Zerg. Probably to decide the last bit of the outcome of this game is Too Drunk just goes on home. Gets some more Lings out. Gets his lair started. From there, Stim is finally started up with +1 attack. Medevac production, get ready to start up here. As that is the next step in the terrorist attack. Is to go mass Ling against Ling Bling into this bio. Knocking down the rocks on this third base. Too Drunk will see that fall, but all it really does is just make this more of a choke that he has to push into. And keep in mind, there are some rocks on the north side of the base here that he can knock down as well. Looks like he might actually try to do that here shortly, as he's going to head on home with these Lings. Leave a Ling out here for scouting purposes. No third base going down just yet for Terran. Too Drunk going to start knocking down these rocks, getting his base opened up. As he does see a push coming out from Terran with a handful of Marines and a couple of medevacs. This could be a very scary push as he's actually going to knock down these rocks. Oh, I thought they were going to fall the other way. The drop coming up here, going to head out on across the map. Actually, just going to fly right through the vision again. As Too Drunk's going to respond to this. This is going to come over here. Happy little Zerg, having everything on the map. He's going to get to use his Elnaga Watchtower. But he's trying to figure out where his push is coming from. As Terran is not going to come from the main now. He drops his scan on the third, sees that there is a third base, but there are Lings here. And Too Drunk is going to start splitting up his army. But he knows which way is which. He'll be able to defend on two fronts. +1 melee and centrifugal hooks are on the way for his Banelings. And he's staying on the Ling Bling tech for quite a while. Looks like this is going to be his style for a bit. As Terran is going to make his way into the base, or third base here. Drop his scan, start pushing back this creep. Too Drunk going to come down the ramp, actually. I feel he needed to defend from the high ground here. He just needs to stay on the high ground. If he stays on the high ground, he'll be in a much better off position because he'll have to fight up the ramp. And as a tight area, these Banelings are going to be able to get some huge detonations as a couple more army, a bit more armies rallying up. He does make a drop up into the third base, and Zerg is just going to roll right in there. No Widow Mines in the mix. The splits are good, but it will not be against the Lings, however, as they are just going to clean up everything. And Too Drunk is going to prompt Too Drunk to move out. There's a Widow Mine here in the mix. A huge detonation on this Widow Mine. Cleaning up all the Banelings are there, as well as that little pack of Lings. But he did lose the Widow Mine. But that means, what is the next step of Too Drunk's play? What is the next step for Terran? As Terran is just staying on this bio style. At this point, he's very much committed to. But he doesn't have a third base on the way just yet. He's actually got to knock these rocks down to get to his third base. It looks like he's going to start building up by more Marauders here. Salvaging the bunkers to get that mineral back. As the fifth base will be taken to the north for Too Drunk. And Too Drunk actually going to knock down the rocks on the north side of his base this time. Open them up a bit. As he will be moving down here to the south and make sure there's no third just yet for Terran. So he knows he's on a 2-base, or he's up 2 bases on this Terran player. Apex finally getting his 3rd base down, and there's not just Terran Bios is incredibly strong as he's finally getting his +1 armor out. His upgrades are slightly behind here, as we do have Overlord speed on the way, and +2 melee, as well as 20% more wings, and finally the Windfester, or the Infestor Pit. The Windfester Pit, and +2 melee on the way, as well as the Spire. If both players has kind of reached a lull in the game where they're just trying to get the economy back up again, get it back up and running, get it further along. As we reach the 10-minute mark, Terran on 3 base, and there is a drop coming around to the north. Looking like he's trying to find a hole in Terran's base, or Terran's vision here. It looks like he might have actually done it as this 4th base is highly exposed over here, but he can't just quite get around it. Terran is actually going to come up this way with a Ling and see this. Which will prompt 2 Drunk to already be in position with a bit of army of his own. Looks like he's going to swing around behind Terran. His 4th base in danger going down, however, as it will not focus it down, but he will force the pickup. Losing a Marauder in the process, and the drop coming into the main. As Terran, he did open up the front of his ramp, so Zerg will be able to respond to this very easily, but he won't lose the Queen either. It's a huge micro from 2 Drunk, as he is slowly peeling back this drop. But meanwhile, on the other side of the map, where's this SCV going? 3 drones have fallen. The 4th base here of 2 Drunk as he's trying to get in here on top of this army. And all Terran is doing for himself right now is just buying time. There's Burrow on the way as well as 9 Mutas, Spores. The Hive Tech is finally on the way. And 2 Drunk is just sitting on a very comfortable lead here as he's just dealing with a small drop here. Forcing some Banelings to be detonated. But as the move out on the south side of the map is going to get revealed by this army. These Lings are in a terrible place to be right now. Spire's actually kind of late for this, as he's moving into Hive right away. That's kind of interesting. The Muta's finally joining into the mix, however. This +1 Carapace is on the way. Quick look at upgrades. It's actually 1-1 against +2 melee. If we swap over to units here, and we see a round coming down from 2 Drunk against this huge Marauder army. It is entirely going to get cleaned up, and GG is called! 2 Drunk tied the series 3-3. As we will move into our last game of the night to decide who wins this series. A little bit of banter going on in the lobby here as we get into our next game. Right back with these cards. And welcome back, my friends, to the show that made tuned in. And spawning into the bottom right hand corner is the Orange Terran Pieces from DLife, looking to end this series for his team. It is the Orange Jello. Orange Jello. It's a very interesting name, very interesting name. And spawning into the top left hand corner of Booma, looking to also end this game 4-3 for his team from Inside Gaming. It is Too Drunk. Last game showing he was not too drunk to play. And as we get into this last map, guys, this map is a very awkward map for a lot of players, as there is a pocket expand on both sides. There's also a gold base next to a Zelnaga watchtower here. It is also very easy for Zerg to get up to that free base economy. Too Drunk is actually going to expand forward. Is Too Drunk's first time on this map. Orange Jello there saying GLHF, this map looks like cancer basically, which it very much can be cancer. But it's also a very straightforward map, so nothing too crazy about it. There is a like science lab back here blocking third from what looks like your fifth or your fourth, depending on how you want to expand on this map. I imagine most players will expand to gold. Third player would. But anyway, as we get into the game, we will see that Reaper opening coming down here, as well as the pocket expand going down here for Terran. There's actually something to note. I don't think Too Drunk noticed that the back expo was there on his ramp, as there is a pocket expand back there. But it looks like he's also interesting for Zerg to expand to the low ground first. Like more of an aggressive expand, gives him that chance to spread creep faster. Gets that control of the low ground as well. Spencer has started up for Orange Jello. Reaper's about to pop out. Orbital is about to finish up. 4 queens on the way, as well as or 4 queens, 6 lings and 2 queens for Too Drunk. Should pop out by the time this Reaper gets here. As again, this is a very small map in terms of rush distance between one base to the other. This Reaper is going to make his way in here, as both players opening up very standard so far. But it looks like we will see some deviation finally, as we have a factory coming down. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, this Reaper is going to get to work, trying to pick up any queens or any lings. See if he channels the Spirit of Beyond here and kills a queen with this one Reaper. Be a very interesting thing to see as he's trying to get these drones, and the queen gonna pop out and say, "Get off my babies!" And force this Reaper to get off her lawn while she's at it. As there's no other way in for the Reaper besides up this small little cliff ledge. Yeah, right here. Too Drunk realizes this is a very easily defensible position, as he does take his third into the pocket expo, as I figured he might. Overlord floating on in here, trying to see exactly when this third base might come down for Terran, as the Orbital is starting up in the back. Yeah, as we saw, there is one slight deviation to this build this time around. We went Reaper into a factory with 2 Hellions, which means we will see the Banshee come up next. So now it comes down to a question of whether how or not Too Drunk will be able to deal with this, as when you see Hellions, you have to immediately assume that there might be a Banshee follow-up as a Zerg. Which means the only thing you'll have to protect this is going to be some queens and spores. As a Roach Warren does come down here for Too Drunk. They will be able to deal with the Hellions. Will he be able to deal with the Banshees? Actually, this is a Liberator follow-up, never mind. So we're actually going to see something even different this time. I was expecting the Banshee follow-up. And, you know, Caster Curse, we have Stim starting up, and a Liberator. So we were going to see more of a 2-pronged attack here with this Liberator. Hellions are going to make their way into the natural here. into the third, or what is now the natural, a evolution chamber or evo chamber coming down to block off behind this mineral line, so you can't get in there. More queens being built here to deal with these Hellions. He's going to position them up here to the north. It looks like he's just going to make a run towards the main of the Terran player, while these Hellions are going to make their way back up. His 2 queens are here, pushing up that creep. There is a spine crawler being thrown down, but the real kicker is his Liberator. Who's drunk ready for this? Is the wall open? The wall is open back home. The wall is open back home. Went up here to get in. His Bulma has a very weird ramp at the main. Going to get to work on these ramps. There is Marines here to push us back. But on the other side of the map, the Queens are dealing with these Hellions. Just 3 drones have fallen to this. 1 Liberator. Queens outrange Liberators, 2 drunk. They're actually going to pull the drones out of this mineral line here and send them on up to mine elsewhere. He's back in there in his pocket expand. Is this going to be more of a mech play? I bet you we're going to see more mech play at this. Is working. Liberator is still positioned back here. He's going to make it very difficult for 2 drunk to deal with this. Finally, it is going to unsiege and be moved up towards the main. There is a Spore Crawler here, but however, Spore Crawler may not actually be able to reach on this. He does notice, he does see it, he does see that. So he is going to reposition this Spore Crawler. Position this Queen outside here, but the Queen is in range of the Liberator as it's stepping on the white line. Drones being focused down. Getting 2 more drones before this Liberator harass is cleaned up. More Hellions on the map. And we will see 2 more barracks, so he is going to transition back into that bio play, which looks like there will be a Hellbat push with this. A Marine Hellbat stem push coming up. There's 2 more drones still up. I guess I was delayed. But 2 drunk getting his economy back online. There are roaches in the mix, so this comes down to how well he can hold this push. The Zelnaga Watchtower here will give him some vision, give him some protection here. He has control of both. But there is a lane right down the middle here that doesn't quite cover everything. It covers just up to the front here. Ah, man. So you might actually be able to see this push come out, actually. It's going to come down to just how well he can do this. There's actual burrow roach speed on the way. No lair coming out. Just he actually did get lair. His lair. He can put his lair in the back there. Pocket Expo, playing it safe. As he does have the Windfester pit on the way. Looks like he might either be trying to move into Hive Tech real quick, or he's going to move into just Hydras with this. Maybe he's going to go Lurkers, as there are 6 Ravagers morphing. And a Overseer on the way. Did he get speed? No, he didn't get over speed. This might just be for a Changeling. He's just going to drop a Changeling in here and run it up there. See exactly what is going on with this Terran army. As Terran is floating down here to take his 3rd base. From here, we'll see exactly how this game unfolds, because we're going to reach kind of a lull here. As both players just macroing up. A lot of Hellbats. Actually, how many Hellbats are there in this? There's 14 Hellbats and 18 Marines in this army. And 2 drunk, seeing that these units have been moved and have killed off his Overseer. It is time, folks, to see exactly how he'll be able to deal with this. You have an Evo Chamber all the way. Spine Crawler on the low ground. Drone looks like he's going to expand up here to the top. All the way up to the top, actually. Another scan being thrown down to see exactly where this army is at. Things running out, sacrificing themselves to get some information. If more Ravagers have been morphed. And Hellbats versus Ravagers could be a very interesting matchup, because it's going to come down to how well these Roaches can tank. How well these Corrosive Biles are going to land, as Hellbats don't move very fast in terms of splitting. It's going to come down here to this all-out push. Corrosive Bile landing on the back of some of these units. And the Concave up here is bigger for Zerg. Queens in the mix, Roaches in the mix as the push is coming up this ramp. It is not enough Zerg Terran here to push up this ramp. He's just going to lift, sacrifice some units, and head on home. 2 drunk with a very good hold there. As he's going to make his way out on the map. It looks like he's just going to push right in here. As remember, this army is flying back. They'll actually be able to land about the same time. Handful of Marines, and there's a Hellbat and a couple more medevacs back home. But stopping that aggression, it looks like 2 drunk says, alright, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to get up here and try and find some damage. Sees that there is no 4th base on the low ground or on the high ground. He's just going to push right up into the natural. Corrosive Biles coming down and seeing exactly where they're going to land. They won't pick up anything. Looks like they might actually pick off a medevac. He's just going to keep pushing forward, forcing a lift on this army. The Siege Tank on the high ground as the wall goes down, but the Siege Tank is going to get focused down by the Corrosive Bile, getting taken out immediately, and Too Drunk has broken the ramp. He's just going to push right on up in here. Is this the end of Terran? As the Roaches are rallying across the map, reinforcing this push. Just going to make his way into the mineral line here of our Terran player. And is Orange Jello going to get beaten? GG is called! And Insight Gaming taking their first win of the season off the back of Xerxes and Too Drunk. Congratulations to Insight Gaming. And with that, guys, as we'll say, overall, this is a great series. Going to stretch, getting all the way to our Masters players. And from there, we just move on into next week and set up those matches. Wishing GG's to our friends here. It was a very amazing series as GG was called on that last match off a Roach Ravager push. After a Terran failed aggression trying to get up the ramp with a Hellbat Marine push, as we saw, it just got shut down by some Queens, Roaches, and Ravagers. The Spine Crawler. And Too Drunk just proving that he is back and that he is able to play incredibly well. And from there we see you next week, guys. I'm going to try to set up another match. We'll get our next matches set up. Friday, for anybody Insight Gaming listening, Friday we do have a match against Risen that will be 3 Platinums and 2 Diamonds. That match will be at 8:30 p.m. on Friday. So if anybody from here for our next match for Nydus League is listening, that leaves Sunday probably best time for me to represent Insight Gaming here. Roach Ravager and Infestor into Corruptors for the libs if needed. Very easy way to deal with Terran indeed. And with that, guys, as you know, next week, as I just stated, we will have a match against the Risen community. It is not a Nydus League match, but we will also have to set up our next match for the Nydus League. I will be reporting the scores here shortly so we can get this updated. And with that, guys, I wish you all a good evening. Hope you all had a good weekend. And we will see you all next week when we can get back to being happy gamers, playing StarCraft, the game that we truly love. And with that, guys, I will call it here. And I wish you all a good night.